Hi guys, it's good to meet you. So in this video, we are going to discuss the following concepts. What do you mean by documenting sources? What is the need for documenting sources? What to document and where to document in your manuscript. We will start with understanding the concept of documenting sources. So usually in research, you are most likely to use information from books, manuals, reference sources, and scholarly journal articles. So when you use information from multiple sources, it is important to inform your target audience or readers about the source and the location of the information. For instance, like where you obtain this information and who is the author of this information, etc. So this is exactly what documenting means. It shows where you got the source of information that is not your own. Remember, a research paper integrates your ideas with information from other sources. So, documentation clearly indicates the reader what ideas are yours and what information and ideas you have taken from another source to support your point of view. It should clearly draw a distinction between this. So, that is the key role of documenting sources. You might ask, why do we need to document sources? Usually, when reading a document written by someone, the reader assumes that the words used are those of the authors. This is true actually. It is difficult for the reader to identify or distinguish which are the ideas of the author and which are actually borrowed. Hence, this is vital to acknowledge the source of information borrowed from others. Moreover, if the author uses a phrase, sentence, or even a paragraph from source without documenting it, anyone who is familiar with the source and reads the document to think that author is presenting someone else's work or ideas as his or her own. Not only it reduces the credibility of the author, but also there are potential and other legal problems as well. So hence documenting sources is vital and it is very important in academics. Further, documents tend to support each other in academics. For example, you could write a paper on how the Python programming works. Then you plan to write a paper on data science using Python. For the second paper, you do not want to re-explain how the Python programming works. Instead, what you can do, you might include a summary of your first paper, then tell the reader or indicate the reader how he or she could find your first paper for more information. So this is one of the reasons why documenting sources is essential. Okay, the document supports each other in academics. Finally, citing other people's work is a good idea actually. It shows the reader that you are familiar with other people's work in that particular area of study. Not only you have read about their work, you also understand it and present what is relevant from it. In this way, you are extending or contributing to the subject as a whole. In other words, you are adding substantial knowledge to the existing body of information. So these are some of the key reasons that indicates why there is a need for documenting sources. So now moving on to the next topic, having discussed the need of documenting sources, you might wonder what to document in your manuscript. So the basic rule for documentation is this actually. Document any specific ideas, opinions, and facts that are not your own. The only thing you don't have to document is common knowledge. So what do you mean by common knowledge actually? So in simple or layman's term, common knowledge is an information that the majority of people either know or can find in a number of sources. So what can you say? For example, there are 4 seasons in a year, there are 365 days in a year, something like that. The Delhi is the capital of India. So these are some of the examples of common knowledge. Again, it can be difficult to define common knowledge at times. It can be tricky. A good rule to follow is, if you are in doubt to define or distinguish what is common knowledge and what is not, it is always better to document it. If you find yourself, needing too much to document and document almost every sentence, then it means you have not thought enough about your topic to develop your own ideas. A paper should not just be a collection of other ideas and facts. Sources should only support or substant your ideas. Hence, you should avoid too much of documenting sources. So the rule of thumb is whenever you use information from sources, you should comment on that information. Your comment should be approximately the same length as the source itself. So these are the key things about what to document in your manuscript. So the next is where to document. Usually it is done at two places, at the end of the manuscript and within the text of the manuscript. So citing at the end of the paper involves organizing references with the source information on them in alphabetical or numerical order according to the style guide by following the correct format for providing the essential source of information. So there are different style guides. The one that is followed in the image is IEEE format, and we will have a look at the various kind of style guides as we move along in the course. The second one is documenting sources within the text of your paper. So most current research papers insert basic source of information inside a parenthesis, like the one showed in the image, within the text of the paper, either at the end of the sentence or a group of sentences that contain the sources information. So you can see from this image that the basic source of information here is a numeric as followed in IEEE style guide, but this is usually not the case actually. Sometimes it may be the name of the author, and here again it depends upon the style guide. So we will move along. We will get to know more about style guides as we move along. So this is exactly what we are going to learn, how to document your sources in the form of citation, references, or bibliography using Mendeley Reference Management System. So see you in the next lesson. Thanks a lot.